Let's begin lying on our backs in Shavasana. Make any adjustments that help you to feel settled and connected to the earth. And then just let your body sink down as you surrender to gravity. So as soon as we become still and quiet, things on the inside start to make some noise and be felt. Nothing to push away. Just notice what's bubbling up when you become still and when you become quiet, whether it's physical sensation or mental formations, monkey mind, maybe emotions. Noticing without judging, without attaching, without following. And let your breath breathe you. Starting to anchor a little bit more to the here and now by following the river of breath. From the tip of the nose, the sensation of the breath, or maybe from deeper inside where you first feel that impulse to inhale. And following the path of the breath through the nostrils, down the back of the throat, down into the chest, the lungs, and possibly, probably creating some movement through the belly. Noticing without changing anything, notice any sensation of breath through the sides of the torso and through the back. Following the breath from the tip of the nostrils, tip of the nose, or that impulse to inhale, all the way through to the end of the exhalation. So you might notice kind of where that exhale originates and watch it all the way to the end. Notice too if there's any space between the breaths. So possibly a pause after the exhale and before the inhale. And sensing your breath as a whole, sensing your body as a whole. Now begin our movement inquiry by planting the feet about hip width apart and keeping your arms right down by your sides. You could have palms facing up or down, totally up to you. And we start with a little shoulder slide. So one shoulder moves down away from the ear. You can initiate that from reaching through the arm or reaching through the fingers, kind of toward the foot or the foot edge of the mat. The shoulder moves away from the ear and the shoulder blade moves down the back. So it's not a big movement, but you can feel it hopefully through the shoulder girdle, maybe even through the neck. So you can hold that for a moment at the end range and then relax that arm completely and simply do the same thing with the other side. Shoulder blade sliding down, arm sliding away from you. You might even feel this as a little side bend through the torso, but we really want to isolate more through the shoulder. See if you can maybe initiate from the shoulder blade, depressing or moving down the back. Let's incorporate a head roll. So whatever arm slides down, turn the head to look in that direction, maybe toward the hand as it slides away. Maybe you can't see the hand and you're just turning the head toward that shoulder. Pause at least briefly at the end range, maybe longer if it feels good. Going slow so you can really be with all the sensations that are arising. Simple movement, but lots of subtle sensations or not so subtle might be felt. You might notice the difference between the two sides of the body as well. We're gonna add one more element here. So the arm is sliding down, the head is rotating in that direction, and the other shoulder is shrugging up toward the ear. So one shoulder blade moves down while the other moves up. And the head is rotating comfortably. About one more time each side, take your time. And then once you're back to center, whenever that is for you, open your arms out to a T. Let's try for palms facing up. And now similar small movement here, one arm just reaching away from you directly out to the sides. The arm's not moving up or down. It's like there's something just out of reach, and just a little slide means you can tap it with your fingertips. This is protraction or shoulder blade moving away from the spine. Pause at the end range and then let that arm be heavy and relaxed, and do the same thing on the other side. Arm reaching. You could let the head roll or roll it on purpose. Notice where you feel the sensation. Notice if one shoulder and arm feels different than the other. Notice how you're breathing. About one more time each arm. And then gradually make your way back to center, keeping the arms out to a T. Let's keep the left foot planted and slide the right leg straight. So right leg can be heavy and completely passive. We call this the unwinding movement. The left shoulder stays down. Rock to the inner edge of the left foot and reach the knee toward your right foot. That's it. And then back to center, leg is vertical. As you rock to the inner edge of the foot, push the inner edge of the foot into the ground and let that hip lift and squeeze the left glute. So you can flow in and out, moving with the inhale or the exhale. Pausing briefly at the end range to work all the elements of engagement. Let's rotate the head to the left as the knee angles to the right. That's it. Really driving that knee forward away from you to bring more of the focus into the front of the hip. One more time on this side. And then once you're back to center, switch sides. So right foot is planted, left leg is straight, right shoulder stays rooted. Rock to the inner edge of the right foot, push the foot into the ground. And back to center when you're ready. So you push the foot into the ground, reach the knee away from you and squeeze the right glute, right buttock muscle engaging. You can rotate head right as the knee swings to the left. Couple more times on this side. Once you're back to center, go back to the first side. So left foot is planted, right leg is straight. And this time let's interlace the hands underneath the head at the bottom of the skull. So we're going to combine that unwinding we just did with what we call the side scrub. This will be a side bend to the left. The head and the arms stay heavy. So we want to slide rather than lifting. So we rock to the inner edge of the left foot and slide the left elbow toward the left foot. And then leg comes back to center and upper body comes back to center. Continue. Push the inner edge of the foot into the ground. You can actively reach the right elbow overhead. Maybe breathing, sending breath into right side that's elongating. maybe looking toward the overhead reaching elbow. Arms are heavy, head is heavy. Slide and glide as best you can. The last one on this side. And then once you're back to center, plant right foot, left leg straight, and same setup. So we rock to the inner edge of the foot, swing the knee across the midline, and side bend now with the right elbow toward the right foot. That's it. Maybe looking toward overhead reaching elbow. Breathing into the space you're creating. Last one on this side. Once you're back to center, keep the hands interlaced underneath the head, right at the bottom of the skull, and plant both feet hip width apart. Connect to each toe, connect to the inner and outer edges of your feet, connect to your heels, all driving down into the floor. Let's inhale and press the elbows down, arm bones press down into the floor. You can find the back bend here as well, making a little gap between the lower spine and the floor. And then exhale, lift your head, curl up, squeeze the elbows together and toward the knees. That's it. Follow your breath, expanding. Head comes down, arms come down, press, arms down on the inhale, and exhale, curl up. Find your rhythm. Full breath in, long breath out, slow, intentional movement. Let's add a diagonal reach with the exhalation. As you curl up, come slightly across the midline, so elbows point toward one hip. That's it, elbows together. Inhale, little back bend, arms root. Exhale, elbows point toward the other hip. Try to really peel the shoulder blades up off the ground on the exhale. A few more times. If you want to add that side bend, side scrub element a little bit, you can. So side bend and then curl up. Just see how that fits into your rhythm, if it does. About one more round. And then after your second side, let's release all together into Shavasana. Slide the legs straight, rest your arms down alongside your body. See if you can drop into stillness and notice what you notice. Let's plant the feet again. You can take arms out to T or to cactus if you like. Drape your left thigh on top of your right thigh so there's no space between the thighs or as little as possible. Keep the shoulders rooted here. We rock to the inner edge of the right foot, knees lower, legs lower to the left. And then come back up to center. Let's try to work with gravity then versus with force here or effort. So what does it feel like to just let the legs go rather than to make the legs go? And pause briefly at the end range. So just like there's a space between breaths, usually, there's this kind of pause before you rise up. So we're not rushing to do it again. We're staying here with what's happening. Tracking sensation, notice where you feel sensation, location, intensity, changes, breath. About one more time on this side. Whenever you get back up to center, switch the cross of the legs. Shoulders are heavy. Second side, allowing the legs to drop to the right rather than making or forcing them down. So we rock to the inner edge of the foot and then carefully come back up to center. Pausing at least briefly, at least for a moment at the end range. You could certainly stay longer if that's what the body's asking for. Couple more times on this side. And then once you're back to center, uncross the legs and slide the legs out straight. Feel the weight of your legs. And now we'll bring the hands to the greater trochanter. So this is the bony knob, lateral knob at the top of your femur, your thigh bone. So it's not up so much where you feel, where we usually call the hips. So if you're able, or just try with me, you kind of slide your hands down and it's on the side of your leg. You can just pretend if you're not exactly sure, get a sense of the sides of your leg just below the pelvis. So we're pressing in slightly and then shifting side to side. So we like push the left greater trochanter into the left thigh and then push the right greater trochanter into the right thigh, hand, thigh into hand. And then see if you can pick up the pace. So it's not a one hip up toward the ceiling and then the other. It's a pure side to side movement. Your hands can kind of relax, but just be there so you get that side to side movement action. And try to go faster now and make it less about control. That's it. Yep. Less about control and more about momentum. So really straight line side to side. Try not to hitch one hip up and then the other. So you can find that lateral movement. If you're not sure about the greater trochanter, it might be helpful to like pull up an image later off the internet, just so you can get a sense of your body parts. So go faster here, go fast, fast, like highest setting on the windshield wipers. If that feels safe and comfortable for you. You can release your hands if you want. And go a little bit longer. And then come back to stillness. And notice any kind of residue of the movement. Okay, next we have the Baddha Konasana slide. So we slide the outer edge of one foot along the ground. The end shape looks like tree pose. That's it. And then slide the leg out straight again. Alternating legs, working with gravity. Imagine there's a weight on your inner thigh, so the foot's not lifting at this point at all. Alternating legs. Feel welcome to pause anywhere through the movement, including the end range there. Might feel interesting or helpful to pause for a breath. You could try initiating the movement from the knee rather than from the foot. See if that changes anything for you. Notice the shifting of the pelvis, changing contact sacrum makes with the floor. Sensation through the inner thigh, outer hip, lower back. Any changes in your breathing? Differences in the two legs, one or two more times here, just depending on your pace. After your second sigh, drop back into stillness. Notice the field of sensation. And then roll to lie on your belly. Stack your hands and rest your forehead on top of your hands. Elbows are wide, so shoulders are really relaxed here. Chest releasing down toward the ground. Okay, we're gonna do that same greater trochanter slide. You can just think about it from the hips. You're less likely here maybe to shift. So it's not an upward, downward of the hips. There's no rotation. It's just a direct side to side. So it's good to start slow. And just kind of send the lateral margin of the thigh further out in that direction. And then the other side. And then as the movement becomes familiar, pick up the pace a little bit. Try to keep it really lateral, really horizontal, without any rotation, without any lifting, without any hitching. Not that any of those are wrong, just a different way to do it. And then really let go into the rhythm and the momentum. So you're not muscularly engaged, you're not trying to control it. You just go fast. A little longer, a little faster, really loosey-goosey movement here. And then come back to stillness and notice the residue. Almost like an echo of the movement continuing in your body. Let's bring one leg into that tree pose or Baddha Konasana shape. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. And you can kind of slide the knee a little away from you if that's available. So the inner thigh on that side gets a little closer to the ground. And then keep the leg there and just press the knee straight down. Press and hold that pressing action for a few breaths. Keep the leg where it is, just relax that rooting action. Let's try that again a couple more times. Simply pressing the inner knee down into the ground, holding. Not like everything you've got, but firm effort. Release. One more time, maybe a little bit more oomph for last round. Notice what else is firing. Notice maybe the shoulders are trying to get involved. Stay relaxed to the shoulders and the face. And then relax the rooting, but keep the leg where it is. Take hold of your elbows, elbows at least an inch in front of your shoulders. Tuck your straight leg toes under. Push back through the straight leg heel. Press the forearms down into the ground. So lift head, lift chest. That's it. It's a Sphinx variation. Draw the shoulders down away from the ears. You could add that little rooting energy back in through the inner right knee, inner knee. See how that feels. Whatever leg is straight, squeeze that buttock side. And then keep the legs as they are. And let's lower the upper body down, stack the hands again. And then walk the upper body over in the direction of the bent knee. So if right knee is bent, we're taking that side bend shape to the right. You can keep your hands stacked and rest your cheek or your forehead, and then reinvigorate that straight leg. Push through the heel, squeeze that glute. Maybe press the inner knee down. Can stay here, or hands to the elbows. We're in the side bend, lifting up again through the chest, through the head. Draw the shoulders down. Gaze is down, probably at your forearms. This time as you lower down, unpack all together. So slide that bent leg straight. Bring the upper body back to center. Stack your hands, untuck toes, and rest. Same little sequence. Second side, knee bending in that tree pose-like shape. Maybe slide the knee a little further away from you. So the inner thigh gets a little closer to the floor. And then you can keep your head down for now and press that inner knee into the floor. Maybe starting a little gentler, because we'll have 2 more rounds to kind of ramp it up a little bit. Rooting. And then relax the effort, keeping the knee where it is. Again, pressing inner knee down, maybe a little bit more effort. Relax. Last one, rooting through the inner knee, maybe like 70% effort if it's feeling like the right thing to do. And then relax the knee, relax that rooting action. From here, we're going to take our Sphinx variation. Take hold of your elbows. They're an inch or more in front of the shoulders. Lift head, lift chest, tuck straight leg toes under. Press down through the forearms, shoulders down away from the ears. Push back through the heel and squeeze that straight leg glute. Lower down, can let the elbows slide apart, hands stack. And then let's take our side bend toward the bent knee side. You can keep your hands stacked initially to lift and shift a few times till you find that place to stay. And then forehead or cheek down on the hands. And straight leg toes still tucked under, energy through that straight leg. You could be rooting through that inner knee. That's interesting for you. Stay here or add the back bend. Take hold of your elbows, shoulders down. Stretching through that outer abdominal area, especially. Maybe pressing inner knee down a bit. Release, coming all the way back to our prone shavasana, belly down shavasana. At center. One more round of cobra, back to symmetry here. So take hold of the elbows, they're a bit forward of the shoulders. We tuck all 10 toes under, drive through the heels, squeeze the buttocks. You can even kind of tuck under there, especially if you're getting back, a lot of back sensation. Chest moving forward and up. And then as you lower down here, let's tuck an arm under and roll onto your back again. Touching into Shavasana. Watch and listen inwardly. Okay, we have one more round of our spinal undulation. This will be with the Baddha Konasana. So let's start with the knees bent, the feet planted, feet and knees all the way together. That's it. Interlace hands underneath your head at the base of the skull. And then open the knees apart and bring the soles of the feet together. So arms and legs are doing similar shape here. This is our inhale. Let's add a pressing the arms down on the inhale. And then when you exhale, squeeze the knees and the elbows together. Knees together, elbows together. So we're going to build it here. Inhale, feet together, knees apart. As you press the arms down, try to stretch the inner knees away from each other. And then when you exhale, really squeeze the knees together and try to squeeze the elbows together. Now we're going to add that spinal wave. So inhaling, stretch the knees, open the elbows, and find a little back bend here. So arching the spine away from the floor. And exhale, squeeze together, and this time curl up, elbows toward the knees as well. Find your rhythm. Expanding on the inhale, curling and rising on the exhale. Full breath in, long breath out. Couple more times, take your time. There's a lot going on. So when we rush, we lose elements. Beautiful. And then the next time you're in Baddha Konasana, pause there. You can release your hands out from underneath your head. So feet are together, knees are apart. Try walking, kind of like scoot your upper spine a little further away from your lower back, if that makes sense. If not, just ignore me. And let's take a few breaths here. Breathe especially into your back ribs. Now, legs are in Baddha Konasana. Bring your hands down to get a grip on your inner thighs. Like as high up your inner thighs as you can get, and a good grip here. So as best you can. Sometimes the slippy tights are hard, but pull your inner thighs toward you and keep that pulling action toward you as you slowly slide the legs out straight. So you're pulling up toward your head as your legs are sliding slowly in the opposite direction. We're just applying a little resistance to straighten the legs eventually. Yep, and then whenever you get there, when the legs are straight, release the arms and come back into the full release of Shavasana. Watching and listening inwardly. Okay, from here, we'll bend the knees, roll to the side. If you have a blanket on top of your mat, let's remove that. If you've been working on carpet, you can grab your sticky mat. And we're going to start in all fours, quadruped shape. So wrists are directly beneath the shoulders. Spread through the fingers, root through each finger, root through each knuckle. Knees or hips width apart and bring them to slightly shied in. So they're not directly underneath the knees, they're a little bit forward here. Let's tuck the toes under and push the floor away with your hands. So push the floor away as much as you can, and then just slightly soften through the chest or the shoulder blades. Okay, gaze is down here, particularly rooting through the bases of the thumbs, the bases of the index fingers. And then from here, we're going to lift the knees so they just barely hover off the ground. Holding. Lower the knees to the ground. Flip the hands, palm up, fingers pointing forward. Make sure your hands are shoulder width apart. And then rather than pushing the hands down, isometrically drag the hands back. So isometric means they're not actually moving, but that's the action or intention. So they push down into the floor a little bit, but more of this dragging back action to stretch out the wrists a little bit. Yep. Flip the hands back over so the fingers point forward, the palms are down. Spread the fingers, root through each knuckle, especially index finger knuckles and the bases of your thumbs. So just to kind of reconfirm here, we're pushing the floor away and then slightly softening through the chest. And then let's add this external rotation. So that's isometric too. It can come from the ground force reaction of the floor, as if you could dial your hands outward away from each other without them actually moving. So we get that external rotation in the shoulders. And then from here, let's find cat-cow, starting with the pelvis, tilting the tailbone up, moving through the lower spine, mid-spine, upper spine, and then start at the pelvis again. Tuck the tailbone under. Go slow here. Try to visualize or feel each vertebra moving individually. Roll through the lower spine, mid-spine, upper spine. Of course, now the spine is rounding and the head can drop. So try a few more times on your own. It's essentially cat-cow, but we're starting each end of the movement from the pelvis. Still dialing the hands outward. Moving from root to crown. About one more time. It's like a wave moving through your spine. And then gradually make your way back to neutral spine. Still dialing the hands outward. Now push the floor away entirely and lift up to downward facing dog. That's it. Knees can be bent here if you'd like. Keep pushing the floor away with your hands a ton. Head can hang. Check back in. Are all of your knuckles rooted? The bases of your fingers. That's it. Long, deep breaths. Take little steps forward until you're in standing forward bend. Feel free to bend the knees here. You might have feet hip width apart. Spread through your toes, root through each toe. Heels are grounded. Breath is in the foreground of awareness. And let's bend the knees and push the floor with your feet and rise all the way up. You can sweep the arms up if you like. And then bring your arms down alongside your body into Tadasana, mountain pose. Vrikshasana, tree pose. Let's start with the hands on the hips. Rooting and rising up through the left leg. Coming up onto the right big toes. Big toe, there's only one big toe. Opening the knee out to the side. And then foot can go anywhere on the leg. It can go below the knee, it can go above the knee, it could go on the knee. Press foot into leg, press leg into foot. Stay here or bring hands to heart center. Our tendency is for that hip to kind of pop out to the sides. If you can bring it underneath you, stand up taller through the crown of your head, maybe arms rising. That's it. Hips are squared forward, but this knee can draw back. You can reach the knee away from you, away from the midline, and maybe back. Yeah, that's it. Last few breaths. Squeeze left glute. It's going to help stabilize. And then calmly lower the arms and the leg. Coming back, mountain pose. Okay, firmly grounding through the right foot. Spread the foot, you have more surface contact. You can bring hands to hips if you like. Come up onto the big toe. Open the hip, knee comes out to the side, and then place the foot anywhere on the inseam of the leg. Hug this outer hip inward, rising up through the crown of the head. Maybe hands are coming to heart center. You can press foot and leg into each other. Try drawing the knee back without changing the hip position and reaching the knee away from you. Maybe arms rise up. Right glute is engaged. And calmly release the arms and the leg to mountain pose. It's a cold morning here. Okay, we're gonna come into a standing side bend. So feet hip width or closer, that's up to you. Stretch the arms up toward the ceiling, and then we're gonna take temple mudra. So index fingers and thumbs extend, and the rest of the hand is clasped. You could have the hands just straight as well. Just one option here. I knew those hands were gonna be out of the frame. And then reach up. So we go up, 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 reach, reach, reach. The shoulders rise up. They're kind of crowding the ears when you're actually reaching through the arms. As you reach up, 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 press down through your feet. And then keep reaching up like you're going up and over versus I'm done going up. Now I'm gonna go over. So keep going up and over. And then stay here and breathe. Sometimes we end up kind of turning to face the ground. So try to be really lateral here without any forward action. Now keep rooting through your feet and keep reaching up to come back to center. Root down through your feet, reach up, up, up. Shoulders crowd the ears when you reach through the arms. Keep reaching up so you're going up and over versus up then over. Up and over. Keep reaching through the arms from the legs. Reach up to come back to center. That's it. And then let your arms float down through this ocean of energy. Okay, we're going to work with a few standing postures, starting with side angle. So you might want to block for this. Take a wide stance. And then I'll mirror today. Let's turn the left toes out. Just depends on your orientation, I guess. And you can bring your block to the outside of your left ankle. Bending the left knee until it stacks over the ankle. The stride doesn't need to be long. It could be. And bringing your hand down. Let's keep other hand on the hip for a moment and work a couple of engagement cues. So back glute on, squeeze your right glute, and then imagine you could hug your feet in toward each other. That's that isometric work where the feet aren't actually moving, but it's as if you could move them. So feet hug in toward each other, rotate through your spine, and stretch your right arm up toward the ceiling. That's it. Left hand could push down. Try not to let your knee track inward at all. Keep hugging the feet in toward each other, engaging the back glutes. You got more support for the pose. You can stay right here or take the arm alongside the ear. So fine to go lower setting on the block, as long as you can keep this underside of the waist really long and more linear rather than rounded. Last few breaths here. Left hand can push into the block to help rotate through the spine. Let's turn the gaze to down at the foot or the ground, but keep rotating the torso up. Good. Push feet into the floor. You can take your block with you as you rise up. And then pivot your feet for the second side. Okay, so block is to the outside of the ankle. Stack your right knee over your ankle. Bring your hand down and your other hand to your hip. Really establishing our foundation here. So knee is over the ankle, back glute, squeeze it, make it firm, and isometrically hug the feet in toward each other. Then rotate through your torso. So the ribs are rotating up toward the ceiling. And let's stretch the arm up initially. Keep the action of your legs. I say it probably like a broken record because it's easy to lose that if it's not habit. You can try pushing that hand into the block. See if that helps you rotate your torso a little bit more. And then maybe the arm sweeps alongside the ear and it's a strong reach. You can turn your gaze down without dropping this top shoulder. So the shoulder, the heart keeps spinning toward the ceiling. We turn just the head opposite. Okay, take the block with you, rising up. Going back to the first side for triangle, Trikonasana. Same placement for the block, outside the front ankle. Let's bring the hands to the hips. Turn your back heel back more. Yeah. Let the hips rock back as you lengthen forward. Notice there was no rounding, there was no side bending here. It's just a hips shift and the torso follows. And then the hand can come down. Try hugging the feet in toward each other here. See how it works. It's all an experiment. And then rotate through your ribs up toward the ceiling, maybe stretching the arm up. So again, this hand can press down and see if that helps you rotate the ribs up toward the ceiling. You might look down and keep spinning heart up. Reach through the top arm if it's up. Back glute is on. Take the block with you to rise up. Pivot your feet for the second side. Let's start with the hands at the hips. And the hips rock back. You can do that a couple times just to make that a bit of muscle memory. So the torso just goes along for the ride. We deepen this front hip crease and hinge. Hand to the block. This front hip kind of rolls forward a little bit. Don't fight that. Rotate through the ribs, not through the hips. Let the hips be where they want to be. And then maybe stretch the arm up. You can turn the gaze down, heart spinning up. Arm reaching straight up to the ceiling for triangle. Okay, you can just set the block aside off the mat and rise up. And then bring your feet under your frame and let's come to the top of the mat in Tadasana, mountain pose. Let's bring one hand to the sacrum and the other to the back of your head. Press your head a little bit into your hand and just slightly tuck your chin. So you can keep your head where it is with those little adjustments and come into chair pose. The knees are bending here. Ribs are stacked in line with the hips. The tendency is for them to flare forward. So bring the rib cage back until it's in line with the pelvis. Press the head a little bit back into the hand. Chin slightly tucked. Keep that in the head and then stretch the arms straight forward and reach the arms forward. So the gaze will be down most likely rather than forward. Knees can stay bent, hands touch down. Plant your hands, walk back, downward facing dog. Rooting through the knuckles. Yes. Let's lower the knees down to the ground. You can put support under the knees if you feel like it'd be good. We're going to take a gate pose with the block. So slide the block off to one end of your mat, low wide setting. Come up to kneel. And then whichever end the block is on, we'll extend that leg out to the side. That's it. So the toe mounds are on that top edge of the block. The heel is on the floor. And this other knee is directly underneath the hip. We're pressing the knee down. So that glute is active. The hips are coming forward. So we can bring the hand is on the hand to the straight leg and the other arm up. That's it. Reach up, up, up. Push the knee down and reach up, up, up. Palm facing inward, so thumb points back behind you. Okay, same idea as our standing side bend. Keep reaching up to go over. Not up then over, up to go over. And keep reaching, reaching, reaching as you come out over the straight leg. Bottom ribs can come forward a little bit. Glutes are active. That will help the back for sure. Let's turn the gaze to look down. So this bent knee leg is doing a lot of work. Root through the knee and reach up to come out. Bring the arm down. Switch the block to the other side. Low wide setting. Toe mounds on that top edge of the block. Heel on the floor. Other knee directly underneath the hip. Press the knee down. This hand can rest on the thigh. Other arm stretching up. That's it. Straight up, root down, rise up, squeeze that glute. Thumb points back, palm faces inward, reach up, 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 up. And then when you're out of up room, start to hinge over the straight leg. Let's turn the gaze down, but keep lifting the heart skyward. Root down through the knee. Keep reaching, reach up to come out. Bring the arm down. And from here we'll come to a seat. Maybe sitting on the edge of a blanket. We want the pelvis neutral, soles of the feet together, Baddha Konasana shape. So if your hip points are behind your pubic bone, we need to shift to stack vertical or use a prop to sit on to help that neutral pelvis. Okay, you can draw the feet toward you if you like. You can get a grip on the ankles. You can use a belt around the feet if you can't reach. And let's stay upright here, at least initially. So shoulders down, chest up, knees stretching away from each other. Slightly tuck the chin. Try drawing skin below the navel upward a little bit. How does that feel? Okay, let's bring one hand to the back of the head again. And that's fine, we'll keep the other hand wherever you want it. It's just to establish the head. So a lot of times when we fold, like the head goes first. Not wrong, just not the way we're doing it today. So chin slightly down and then press the head a little bit back into the hand. Okay, you could keep your hand there as you fold, or just commit that action, that position, without changing it, and then let the hinge, the forward fold, come from the hips, not the spine, not the head. So it's just pure hip hinge here. Chest is staying lifted. So the back of the skull is staying in line with the sacrum. That's it. A little chin tuck. Don't lose the chin tuck. Stretch the knees away from each other. Be sure your sitting bones are staying on the ground. I don't know about you, but my tendency, like my chin will just jut forward, does its own thing. Keep it slightly down, pressing back of the head into imaginary hand. Breathing here, wherever you are at your comfortable end range. We're not forcing, we're just encouraging. So I've been focusing a lot on position of the head relative to the position of the rest of the spine, because the forward head posture is like a pandemic of its own, right? And as we get older, it only gets worse. And then from here, rising up. Beautiful. Stretch out the legs and come into Shavasana. It's our last Shavasana for class. So you might want to put a blanket underneath your head or blanket over your body. Put a bolster under your thighs if you'd like that extra support. It's a good idea to separate the feet wider than the hips if you're on your back. And then again, to kind of scoot, if you're able, if it makes sense, kind of scoot your upper spine a little further away from your lower spine. So you just lengthen, create a little more length and a little more ease in the back. Making any final adjustments. Help you feel comfortable, supported, warm. And then dropping into stillness and resting in awareness. Come back into the river of breath. Bring your awareness back into your body, your sacred vessel for life's journey. If you feel ready, you can start to wiggle and stretch and reawaken, and eventually rise up to a seat. Take your time. So today's reading is from Ken Kesey Jr. Bad vibration, like the measles, is contagious. Every time you interact with anger, resentment, or fear, you add a little reinforcement to the addictions from which you wish to be liberated. You know the story of the man who bawled out his friend, and the man went home and fought with his wife, who spanked her child, who then kicked the cat. Now let's turn it around, for good vibrations are also catching. Let's be the friend who complimented his friend, and the friend went home and kissed his wife, who was so extra loving to her child that he gave the cat some milk without even being asked. Let's bring hands, palms together at heart center. If you'd like, you can join me chanting Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. It means Om, peace, peace, peace. So take a breath in. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you. Namaste.